Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am, it's Sunday and it's raining, but I'm in great company today. I would like to welcome my guests today. I have Jennifer Newt. Did I pronounce it right? Jasmine.
Yes,
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Why did I say? See, I'm
Yeah,
already
I
messing
know. It's
up.
because we it's because we brought attention to the last name.
And I was focused.
I was like, good job.
Okay, let me just wrap this back. I am here with Jasmine Newt. See, I had
I
like a little
do.
professional.
Right.
And then Regina Lawless. We are spending some time together. Now, usually people that come on the show, we have this whole conversation before the recording. So, y'all, I made a mistake, but it was well intentioned.
More than you realize.
Will the two of you introduce yourselves so we can start with Jasmine first?
All right. Hi. So I'm Jasmine Newt. I am representing Seat at the Table Community Initiatives as their board president. I work in the family services realm, and I've been over there for 12 plus years. I consider myself a multi-passionate, somebody who truly believes in creating and fostering community and put myself in places where I am helping to facilitate and create that. So that's me
Yay,
in a
that's
nutshell.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Miss Regina, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Regina Lawless. I am a former corporate girly. I've been in HR. I know. That could be a whole other conversation. All the stories of being in corporate for almost 20 years. I was an HR executive in my last role and former head of DEI at Instagram, to be exact, and left there almost 2 years ago to start my own business. I founded a company called Bossy and Blissful to really focus on the holistic wellness of high achieving Black women and also to become an author. So those are the things that I do now, as well as becoming a yoga instructor in training. So I've got I got a lot going on, but that's just a little bit about me.
You're like my soul twin. It's like it's like, I'm gonna do this and then yoga sounds great.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's how it happened.
Yeah, I'm not just taking the class.
Right.
I'm just going to start teaching the class.
Yeah. Lifelong high achiever. Why not?
Yeah. You know what they say. We get bored, we go back for certification and degrees.
Exactly.
Y'all, that's what I'm saying. You're speaking to my heart because I'm in school right now for my PhD in clinical psychology.
Wow.
Nice.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
People were like, what are you going to do next? I'm like, and my husband's like, she's not going to be done. She'll find something else to get certified in. Like,
Evolution. Life is growth. That's what we're here
we're
for.
supposed to
Right.
do.
That's it.
Yes.
I am fighting the urge to create another PhD program or create one. Every couple of months I go back to my advisors like, wait, can I do this? And I'm like, you got kids. You're right, I do got kids.
You
Let
do.
me think about this.
You do, however.
Right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. What kind of degree do you want to create?
So I have had very unique collegiate experiences to where my degrees themselves are very outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just know I want to be able to do everything with that degree. So
Yeah.
A lot of saving the world, a lot of just finding myself, hey, what's going on over here?
Sure.
I really just want to be a part of research that's really driving change.
Mm-hmm. Like a transformative change of some sort.
So.
Okay. Thank you both. What is a book that you're currently reading, Regina?
So this is probably not a surprise now since I said I'm studying to be a yoga teacher. But but I am deep in all of the yogic philosophy and various books, but one that I'm particularly into right now is called Yoga for Times of Change. And
Ooh.
yeah, that is outside of my teacher curriculum, but it was something that my teacher recommended.
Okay.
And I am loving it so far. Barely cracked it open, but I am going to use it because my impetus for being a yoga teacher is to help people cope with change, particularly women, especially Black women.
Mm.
So I'm already starting to pull, like, I'm literally 2 months into training. So I really should not be thinking about teaching nobody nothing because I'm still. I'm still learning the downward dog into, however,
However,
I'm projecting ahead that I'm going to be teaching people and I want to know how to teach them yoga to calm their nervous system. So
Right.
that's what I'm
absolutely.
reading.
That's beautiful. And Jasmine, what are you reading currently?
Well, I too am kind of in between books right now. I have just cracked Diversity Inc. by Pamela
Ooh.
Newkirk.
Okay.
Very, I'm talking maybe page 10, but it seems to be pulling me in. It's just, as we're kind of shifting into this new climate, I want to have the tools that I know I have and the tools that I can get so
Mm.
that we know what to prepare for. So I think that this book is going to give a little bit more of a further depiction of what to expect when what we've been promised isn't quite looking the way it's been promised because it's too hard for them to uphold their part. So
Oof.
looking forward to doing that. I
Yeah.
also have this one too. I know you said one, but I have two.
Oh no, you're
Uh,
fine. If you had five, it's
radical
fine.
Ooh.
I have Radical Inclusion, 7 Steps to Help You Create a More Just Workplace, Home, and World. And
Hmm.
that's by David Moinina Senge. My apologies if I mispronounced. So just looking to see what this can offer.
Ooh, good
I
ones.
love seeing books as offerings.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yeah.
that too. I
Me
don't think I.
too.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
Look at me over
yeah,
here flowing like Tupac.
right,
Just coming up with things.
right.
Yeah, Regina, what did you're an author. What book did you write and what is it about?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you for asking.
You're so
Um,
welcome.
so I'm guessing this is a video podcast. Maybe, maybe
I
not.
mean, I have
It
a
can be.
child. Yes, my child is putting together my episodes. He's high.
Ooh,
He's
okay.
hired. He's gone on sabbatical a couple
Yes.
times
Yes,
in like a
as they do.
2 month period. But this will be up sometime. So yes, show
Okay.
us your book.
Fun.
Okay. So for those who will eventually watch this, or if you are listening, that sounded shadier than it was meant to be. When you
No, it's
watch this,
fine. It's fine.
the book is called Do You, A
Mm-hmm.
Journey of Success, Loss, and Learning to Live a More Meaningful Life.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's part memoir because it tells, of course, my story of rising up the corporate ranks and suddenly being faced by tragedy. So
Mm.
you'll learn in the first page of the book, you learn that my husband passes away. And
Mm.
that happened 3 years ago and almost four, coming up on 4 this year in May.
Okay.
And so the story is kind of that, my journey to cope with that, sudden devastating loss, and the journey after that. It covers about an 18-month period where I figured out through trial and error over 18 months, just every day trying to do something to crawl myself out of that
Hmm.
grief. The other part of this book is a blueprint for other people, whether it's grief you're struggling with or just you might be at a crossroads in your life. You may be like me and find out that you're burnt out from corporate, which was awareness that I had while I was on bereavement leave for my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm super proud of the book, and it's very it was an outpouring from my heart. So I, of course, want everyone to read it or get the audio version or share
Yeah.
it with someone who's going through some things.
Yeah, and I will make sure to put just like the books that you are reading in the show's notes, as well as um, your book and where you can find the book and all
Thank
that
you.
other stuff. So I will definitely be in contact with all that information to put it in the show's notes for sure. Because grief is tricky,
Hmm.
and it is fascinating because people think that grief it just comes with death, but grief can come in all different. It could be feeling like or realizing that you're burnt out and something has to shift, or a friendship or job or whatever. And so I love that there's this book that exists that talks about death saddeningly, but also like where grief can also lie in your life and how to navigate that experience.
Hmm.
That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you for writing that. Um, what is a song that you both listen to that represents glowing and growing?
Ooh,
Regina, you want to start?
yeah, I love music. This is a hard one because when I tell you I love music, like I and my partner, that like spoiler alert, I met someone else. That's in the book too. I'm telling the book the book has something for everybody. Okay, if you're
It
trying
sure
to find
does.
somebody, it has that too.
Right.
Love that because from what I've been hearing in my friendships and in the therapy world is that the dating pool has piss in it.
It's hard in these streets. That it
And
is hard in these streets.
and
Okay.
sometimes the pool got shit in it because you know how remember when the kids would shit in the pool and they had to evacuate for the day
Mhm.
and they would
Yes.
drain the whole pool. That's sometimes what
Mhm,
happens.
and it's not
Mhm.
being drained. You're right. So I
I don't even go to the pool. I mean,
I don't even
I
show
don't
up.
got.
I don't even show up in the pool.
so I just mentioned my lovely partner because he is an artist. He's a music artist. And so
Mm,
God brought me someone who also loves music. So we're listening to music all day, every day.
okay.
But the song that popped into my head that just always makes me smile. I'm from the Bay Area. One of my favorite artists from the Bay is Lettucey. So
Mm,
she has a song called All Right. And
mhm,
when I was going through it, traveling, like I would commute to work and be like just want to veer off into the wilderness and not come back, like just take a detour off the freeway and keep driving.
mhm,
I would play my Lettuce. That was a song in the rotation of
mhm.
trying to get me right before I stepped in to deal with them folks.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
With them
that
folks,
kept you,
yeah.
that let you park, didn't let you drive, but let you pull in their parking space. Love that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. What about you, Jasmine? What's a song that is growing and glowing for you or represents it?
So to me, my energy it goes a little different. I
Let's
need
get
the
it.
fire. I need the
Let's.
flames. I need to be in the zone. So the song that does that for me is Jericho by Iniko. They are
Mm.
powerful lyricists. Their music is
Ooh.
very the messages are so deep in there, but it's always got the beat, it's always got the rhythm. It does not miss. So if you haven't heard of them, I would check them out in Eco.
Oh, I love it. I thought you were gonna say something totally different because when you said it was going a different direction, I was like, okay, what are we do? Glorilla? What are we doing? What's
Oh,
happening? It's like, I
no,
was
it
ready
might
for
be.
it.
Yeah,
NWA? What's
It's like,
nah,
okay.
soul spirit. I need my
I get
spirit
it.
to be set on fire, not so much.
It's like, hey, I could say a little bit of everybody needs a little bit of ratchet,
I
like just a
know,
little
they're
bit.
trying to figure out a better way to say it.
Balance. It's
Right,
balance.
right. No,
it
yeah,
is a balance. It
yeah.
is a balance.
More so wakens me up and just keeps me in the zone. It's
Yeah.
Iniko's music's really got that power behind it.
I love
Okay.
it.
Well, it's so interesting because I'm laughing at this whole conversation because I've had people on the show where they'll say something like, I'll ask a question, something around music, and it'll be, I don't know, like, what's a song that makes you feel balanced? I'm not sure what but there's been a few people that will bring in like gospel music, and I'll sit there like, shit, I don't know, that's not where I was going.
Right.
And sorry, like my heathen self, but I was thinking about glowing and growing because I've been like
Right.
in the gym and I've been working out with my trainer. And one of the things, this is gonna be so this is so trifling. But one of the songs that I'm thinking of is also a Bay Area artist group, rap group, The Federation.
Yeah.
And they have
Oh,
Donkey.
Chiyoko. Okay, we about to be besties.
We're gonna be
Okay,
besties.
the Federation. What? Hi, Fee.
That's where I
Yes.
thought you were going, Regina, when you said the Bay the first time.
Oh,
Okay, who you gonna pull out? Who you gonna pull
believe
out?
me, I just to take a little detour, I just saw like from Bay Area rappers, I just saw an email that Turf Talk is in town, and I got
No
so happy.
way.
So I
Oh.
love all like the Bay Area hip hop. Don't let the sweetness and the spirit fool you. Sometimes I gotta turn up.
You have to just veer.
Yeah.
Left.
Yes.
Yes. So I had on yesterday, I went into the grocery store because people, they like to talk to me. And sometimes I'm not in the mood to talk. And I think with a therapist energy,
Right.
and I've always been this way since little bitty kid, like people will just like pour onto you. You both probably get the same thing. Like Grace said,
yes.
yeah, like how are you doing? And then you're like, you did crack. Okay. You're in recovery for crack. That's great. How did we get here?
How do we get here? It happens to me all the time. It's that open energy. And I'm like, how do I turn it off? Can I turn all the chakras off? Can I turn can I tune it down? Because like,
I don't know that you can.
what can
I don't know
that you can, mate.
So what I've been doing is I've been wearing my Beats headphones and pulling my hair up so people can see. Like it's very strategic. So yesterday I was walking and I put on Donkey by the Federation. And I was like, oh yes, this is me because I've been doing squats and that was my glow and grow moment yesterday.
I love that for you.
I know we are swinging on tangents right now.
Yes.
I know we're swinging on tangents and I hate to add to it, but I'm going to.
Please.
I have such a deep love and respect for the person that rides around playing music. I think that they add something to the atmosphere. So to also have to sit there and think about people just in their headphones listening to the most craziest music, thank you. Thank you for that.
That's me. Like I will be in there with this and
like,
then
hi there.
Hi there.
Shaking Donkey.
Yeah. Or fuck the police is in my like wow, welcome.
Right. But sometimes because that fire, so there are just songs that I'm sorry, they come on and you just like we need that release.
Yeah, turn into a stripper, listening to Live Crew. It's just some taste.
Anytime you hear big booty hoes, hop with it, like
hop with it, just like
that's a command, or that you are, what is it? For the 99 and 2000s, like taking over for the 9. Thank you. It's still early Sunday. I haven't had my coffee. I don't care if they played it at a funeral. It's time to twerk.
Because obviously so and so wanted us to turn up in this way.
I'm telling you.
I used to think like that. I used to be very
that's a command.
Hey, look, certain songs just have to be played on my way out. You know what I mean? So grandma and grandpa, get with it.
I'm telling you, I feel like the spirit is there. Who are we to not honor it?
Look, you guys gave me the ability to dance. Don't tell me which music.
Exactly. Yes, I love this for
Oh,
us.
man.
Maybe we should start a playlist. It could be a three person playlist, and we contribute to it,
Mm-hmm.
of songs that, in your headphones are trifling
Yes.
Mhm.
Just not
songs.
right. It's not right, but it's
'Cause I
right.
remember a few.
Okay. we are going to put anything by the Yin Yang Twins.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
Trina. You
The
cannot
whole
forget
cat.
Trina.
Yes. Cannot forget Trina at
Yes.
all. No, the
I have such
Mhm.
baddest.
weird connections to people. I'm like connected to people that are connected to her. It's so strange how the world works out.
Oh, that is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
is.
was getting cheese at Safeway and yesterday, same playlist, and Lil Kim came on, and it was her and Cisco. How many licks? And
A
as
classic.
it's a classic. And I was like, grabbing my
I mean,
mozzarella.
I'm pretty sure I heard them play that in the grocery store lately, so I think you're okay.
Okay,
They
I
get a little
agree.
bold in there.
I was like, I need to shop where you shopping because that's a good playlist.
Rayleigh's on
Rayleigh's,
Freeport. Is it on Freeport? I don't know who is in there, but every time I'm
We
like,
talk about the same place.
I'm
telling you.
done. Not
Heard it.
the both y'all said Rayleigh's.
Rayleigh's
Hilarious.
on Freeport.
Okay,
Rayleigh's on
look.
Freeport.
That's where they got the sauce at. That's where
You're
it's a
just in
little.
there
It's,
just
it's,
oh, you're looking with your back, yeah.
Yeah,
Sir, I'm getting
exactly.
lettuce.
I don't know who is
Oh my
who is
gosh.
DJing.
I
in
just
there.
think it's the generation because I walked into another
love
store and the energy was very different. It was not a
Mm.
inclusive space, but
No.
whoever was running the music was making sure to hold down the fort. So I felt safe. I felt in good hands. Because if you're playing that in their face and it's very
You're like,
apparent that it's unsafe
okay.
in this room, I'm
Mm,
riding with you.
I
Right?
know. I'll be back. I
I
go
just
to
think it's the
Rayleigh's.
generation. I think Gen Z, they ride for the music and they're gonna play
They
it.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it for them. And I love it for us. Okay. Jasmine, I'll start with you. Can you share? I mean, you're a person, like you said, transformative change, you about the change, you about that life. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life, anytime, that pushed you to make change?
Oh man. It's a very interesting question to answer because as far back as I can remember, I'm just a person who just pushes forward. But I can definitely look at points in times where I had to remind myself that it was time to push forward. One of the most pivotal times would probably be when I went to grad school for my master's in social work. That was a point where I just wasn't really sure. I knew I was going places, I just wasn't sure where. So at that point, I had gotten into the relationship you thought was going to be the one. You got to start preparing for the future. So in my mind, I was very focused on, okay, I need to be the best version of myself. So the best version of myself is going to school. And so I think that just having that mentality in my life has helped me get through many points in my journey because I've always been determined to go after what I'm going after. And I don't really, it's not a bragging point. It just is what it is. I don't really allow things to get in my way. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Just
I'm
everybody
dusting
picks
my
up.
shoulder off for you in
Sure.
honor of you. Talk your ish, girl.
Please. Please.
Once I decide, and I think right now as I'm seeing my my duties at my job, my contract is ending, and so I think it's time for me to shift back into being more present in my community. So I'll say, let's see how I do this time. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying. This time I'm intentional.
You're
Before it was
doing.
easier. so.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You're
Yeah.
doing. It's not a try. It's
Right,
you're actually
right.
doing.
Yeah. So hopefully I answered your question, but
No,
yes.
you did. Thank you. And Regina, what inspires you to create change for yourself? Because you mentioned, I mean, you going to work, trying to not get off the freeway to park,
And cry
J-
about the choices I've made in my
cry
life.
about the choices that you've made. So you've had to create change for yourself. How do you do that and create change for other people, or inspire change, or hopefully inspire change for other people?
Yeah, I love that question, because I hadn't thought about makes me what inspires me to create change for others,
Mm,
but I'm going to come back to that because I
mhm,
think that's certainly what I'm doing now. I think starting with myself, I have a strong drive to move forward. I've always been someone with a lot of fire, a lot of passion, um, very driven to do my best, overdriven in my earlier years. That's why I was burnt out and stressed
mm,
out and crying and my back hurt and all the things.
mhm,
So I didn't have. I wasn't anchored in what was my truth and my needs. It was just something that I think a lot of, especially Black women, we are socialized to be very driven. And, a lot of us come from circumstances that we're trying to get out of.
yeah.
And I know that was my case. Like my parents instilled in me, like education, like working hard. That is how you get out of poverty. And so that was my initial ambition for change. And
Mhm,
then I started to see the power that I truly had to change my circumstances. I realized that, okay, I could just sit here and wallow in it and complain and be bitter and angry, or I can get my ass up and do something about it.
mhm,
And so that's to your point, Jasmine, that's what led me to get my master's degree, because I was like, I can talk about wanting to be an executive, but I know that I have to be more than qualified. I know I'm going to need, another degree. I'm going to need more experience. I'm going to, et cetera, et
mhm,
cetera. So that was, an impetus for sure. And then the impetus to change or help other people transform really came from feeling so good in my own body and seeing my own transformation of just how much joy and light I carry now. And I really want other people to feel that. And
mhm,
so, especially Black women, because as we know, we carry so much stuff that we don't even want to carry, stuff we don't even know we're carrying,
mhm,
stuff that's not even ours to carry. And so I feel freer than I've felt in my entire life. And I really want to give that gift to other people. So that's what
mhm.
inspires me.
It's beautiful. Thank
It is
you.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one thing to look out for yourself, right? But it's a whole other thing to be like, well, what can I do for the sake of others? And it may be intentional, like, I'm going to do this, or it could
Right.
just be how you show up.
I think it's a
So,
little bit of both.
yeah.
I think I'm realizing the power of the example too, because when
Right.
I first left corporate, I was like, "Oh, I've got to start all these programs," and I was feeling like I have to save everybody or help, and it's just like, no, you're not Harriet Tubman. My partner jokes and says I'm like the corporate Harriet Tubman. I'm trying to get everybody out. I'm like, she's an idol of mine. I love Harriet. Like, that's
Thank
my
you.
girl. That's my girl. However,
Man, okay.
right?
What you
Like,
mean?
right? However, like as much as I love that ancestor, like I just
Mhm.
I had to take some of that burden off myself too. That I
Mhm.
can't, it is not my job to save everyone. I
Right.
see my role now is being an example of what's possible.
Right.
And then if I can share the tools, the tips, the knowledge that I learned along the way, please, by all means, if it resonates with you, pick it up. If it doesn't, don't.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And I really like what you said about the being the change, because when I went to undergrad, I too came from same background. Have to go to college because that's the only way we're going to make it in
Yeah.
our family's bloodline. So that was my mindset. And because I was a sociology major, the first one of the first classes I took, the theory that we learned about was a scholarship child. Was the scholarship kid, the theory of the scholarship kid. And it's this notion
Mhm.
that somebody in certain lower socioeconomic income backgrounds and neighborhoods, somebody saw something in that child, so that they protected the child and uplifted the child to get them out of their circumstance so that they can go to college and do better. So when you have that, for me, playing in your mind your entire collegiate experience on top of already knowing that, or at least this was myself, knowing that I was going to be the person that is the change for my family, that has led to layers of burnout, like layers that I'm still kind of coming out of. And to your point, being the change, that is why I've been more present recently. It's because I think at this point, I've been telling people all the time that all this beauty and all this kindness and community and inclusion is in ourselves, but I think they need to see it. So I think like making myself more present in the community and just showing them I'm not doing nothing different than I did 2 Tuesdays ago. And it's nothing different than you did a Wednesday ago. And so it's just understanding that we are a community. There's really, truly nothing that separates us but fear.
Yeah, I mean, I love the scholar that theory because I think a lot of Black women especially go through it. Right. Because as you know, like the statistics shown, and I can't quote what statistic it was, but
it's been years.
It was Black women being the most educated, like by degrees, in this country, right? Yeah. Held in this country. And I was a first generation college student. And, so it is no one before you has done this. So there is, and it's not like people are just putting pressure on you, like per se, like you got to go to college, you better do it, you got to graduate. Like it wasn't like that, but it's like you were upheld in that. So you sit in it. And so it's like, well, I have to do these things to make these people proud, even if they are not saying it per se. You just know what your role is to be. And so yes, that does create burnout, and yes, it creates becoming certified every fucking thing. And it could be like, do I love these things? Do I love doing these things? Or am I
trying to heal myself?
Am I trying to heal myself or my family line? Like what is going on? And so for me, it's been a lot of stepping back, like, okay, I want to teach yoga. And because I've gone through this where I was like, oh, I like the way
no
this
judgment.
feels.
I taught myself how to do my nails randomly when I was pregnant once because I was bored. I'm there with you.
yeah, no judgment at all. Because I've been there where I'm like, Pilates, right? I could be a Pilates instructor, and it's like, girl, you did it one time. Now you trying to open a business. Like there are times where I have to say, like, do I want to do this, or is there another like motive behind me doing it? And the motive being, am I breaking generational curses? And it's like, you're one fucking person. Right. One out of a line of hundreds and thousands of generation or people in in generations. You're one person. You're really going to change the course over so many
of the whole bloodline. Like that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot, and we do it all the time.
And I was just about to say, it's a lot of pressure, and we are doing it.
Yeah, we are.
You know, like my brain, if you saw my face, I was having thoughts with my ancestors a little bit because I almost spoke out of turn. I almost said, what was y'all doing? What was y'all doing? But, you know, for what it was worth, they were fighting a whole different battle of just trying to survive.
On multiple fronts. Absolutely. Right. And I think that we, and of course, Chiyoko, you're the therapist, so you're going to know what the real answer is, but for me, I feel like I am doing them proud and break. I don't even know if I think of it as breaking. I think of just, I always think of all of the sacrifices that our ancestors had. And I think of, we have freedom that they could have never dreamed of. Right. Yes. So I always like to think of, how am I honoring my freedom, my sovereignty? That is the best gratitude to give to those before us that couldn't even dream of having the freedom to make choices and do the things that we are able to do in this present time in life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Because I think that is where we should get to, is not trying to recreate history or lines that we think existed, because a lot of us do not know our ancestral lines in that way to be like, well, this person didn't do this and this
Right.
person didn't do this. We have an idea of what that may have looked like. But I think this part in the year of our Lord 2025,
2025.
we should sit here and say, what is the optimal experience I can have to not only make myself proud of who I am, but also the people that contributed to me. Like, we have to try to reframe it instead of being like, I got to make my ancestors proud. And there are so many different personalities, I'm sure, of the ancestors. Like, does somebody want you to burn some shit down?
Right.
Does somebody want you to go and sit down somewhere?
Right.
How do we gauge which ancestor?
So we got some revolutionary ancestors, some activist ancestors for sure.
We do. And how do we combine all of that, but just to honor yourself,
right,
in the space that you have, the freedom that you have, the liberation that you're trying to get? Like, how do we do that now? Does that make sense? Am I just talking a lot?
No, that resonates very much.
I can. This is my peanut butter jam jelly. Throw everything in there. We can talk about revolution and change any day. And that's gonna always be an energy I invite, because no,
it's needed. Well, y'all have both talked about burnout, and being Black is,
synonymous almost, pretty much.
Synonymous. We be doing too damn much. That's
too
what it is.
much, the most, all the time.
Absolute most.
I honestly think our burnout looks and functions completely differently. I think it takes on a life of its own, and it is functionally very different.
Say more, because I'm like, I want to,
say more.
Just came to me, so
okay, all right. Just the ancestors brought it in,
right?
Okay.
Sometimes it just, as I'm starting, because I'm mixed, so my perspective, I find myself in weird spaces where I get to see multiple perspectives.
That's good.
And so it allows me to kind of slow down, and how do I say this in a way that don't sound real crazy? It's almost like I have to practice understanding my roots sometimes, because I was raised so in the clouds. So in doing that, I understand that to be Black and to be a person of color is to almost have a separate reality that you're carrying amongst yourself. It's a different burden. It presents completely differently because it has to protect itself. It's like its own little protection, if you will. So I think that burnout in Black women, people of color, is also very differently, because you can't slow down to think. And so sometimes you find yourself in situations where your burnout is playing out directly in your behavior, and you're coming out with maybe some repercussions or consequences, or you get through it, or you're having a burnout where you maybe have the opportunity and privilege, such as I do, to have a little bit of freedom to where you can work out some of those emotions. And it's a different space to have to navigate. It is, because burnout in many other cases is treated as something that you get to kind of separate from and kind of heal. Whereas like half of the time, being a person of color, you don't realize you're in burnout until like year 3 of it. You know what I mean? So I think that that's because of how much work has to go into protecting ourselves. I hope that made sense. No, sometimes it's hard for me to get my thoughts out.
No, it does. I was going to ask you, like, what do you think it is about yourself as an individual that has the freedom to explore that in that way?
That is a great question. It's one I'm definitely working through right now. I think that if I'm being honest, as a person, a light presenting person of color, I have had opportunities to be in rooms that maybe others haven't. And I do recognize that my intelligence was a safety factor too. So that did put me, I was in AP honors, all of that. So that just naturally tracks you a certain way. It opens doors. But because of those doors being open, and because I was raised in the clouds, I didn't allow a lot of the fear-based mongering that happens in racial conversations to hold me down. I just truly loved and presented to people the way that I do. but because of that, that meant a lot of journey, a lot of struggle,
Yeah.
a lot. There's a lot that I've had to go through in order to still maintain my belief in people while also experiencing some of people's most nastiest projections and shadows that they're not quite ready to work through.
Yeah.
That was, again, meant as a matter of protection for their bloodline. So I get it from everyone. I get heat from everyone, but I do recognize now that it's a privilege to have been in the spaces that I've been in. And so it is my duty to now speak up and to represent that ability to slip into rooms and be like, how did I get here? Okay, my ancestors got me here. So what do I do with this information now that I'm here? Because some people, the fear doesn't even allow you in those rooms sometimes.
Yeah. And I wonder if it is your ability to know the playbook of white people.
Yeah.
Is your other side white? I don't want to assume. Is it white and
yes.
black?
Yes.
Okay. So I wonder if it is your ability to understand the playbook to be able to translate it to others.
I think there are definitely some of those things that I'm like, hey, this is but you know, one of the things about being mixed, at least in my experience, I can't speak for all. I am every single statistic that comes out of being mixed. The more common ones, the white family completely cut us off. Poverty, teenage, like everything you can think of. That's the way that my family bloodline comes. So I actually don't have many of my mother's side that I grew up in connection with.
Yeah.
Just the ones that loved my nucleus enough to teeter with their own projections that they had to work on. So I hold grace for the ones that had enough love in their heart to love us, but they, you know, being mixed and it's definitely an interesting experience on that side of the world.
Yeah.
Because they mean it. They the ones that love you, they mean it. They mean they love you. They also are completely unaware of how much they also mean racism sometimes.
Right. You know, well, America.
Triple K's.
God bless the USA.
Right, I mean.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jasmine, for that. Because that is to be completely vulnerable, right? I think there are times where people are like, I can't help that I'm light skinned. It's like, girl, nobody said all of that. Like, okay, like I get it. Like, it's not your fault. Like, nobody, like, you're not penalized for that. It's how you recognize how you navigate society. Right. So if you already know I am light skinned, I look this certain way, blah 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 blah, I understand that there's going to be privilege behind that. I'm still black, but I am going to look the safer whatever. So with that comes this, and how do I navigate this to bring other people with me? That's how we that's how we recognize privilege, and that's how we use it. And we make.
I've done it my whole life, and I'll keep doing it.
Right. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you will lose out, quote unquote.
Oh man.
But it's like, what am I doing this for? It's the greater good. It's the community. It's how we build each other up. So thank you for being so vulnerable in that space, because it's not always easy.
It is hard. As I'm getting older and I'm navigating, just there are so many nuances to being a person in this world, and there are even more intricacies when you start mixing culturals and just all of that fun stuff. So if you're raised in families that are very closed in their way of thinking, that is going to present in the way you carry yourself as a person of color too.
Absolutely.
My parents were young. I think I had a very interesting wave of blessings. My grandmother was, and it's a weird way to put it, but I see everything as a blessing. But my grandmother was disabled, and I believe that the purest of people flock to the disabled. Not to use that language like that, but that's what I felt growing up and what I saw and what I experienced.
Yeah.
And so that means that I've had the opportunity to be, in my opinion, around some of the purest souls. And I just continue to just offer that as
Mm-hmm.
best as I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I love
Good.
it.
Me too. Miss Regina, what have you been this is I shouldn't even ask this question because you've already said like I have been burnt out. I am black. I am burnt out.
Right.
Black equals burnt out.
Yeah.
It's like but how do you when do you recognize burnt out with you? Because Jasmine was saying like sometimes you don't even know. It's just you are operating within it. You respond to it different. It's almost like a high functioning. Sometimes for some people, when we're burnt out, we function higher, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you recognize that you're burnt out, and what is it that you do to move from that space of burnt out?
Yeah, so by my count, I've been burnt out at least 3 times in my
Mm.
career, at least 3 times, and at least that's the stat I give in the book, because I talk about some of that burnout in the book, and I love how you said high functioning because
Mm.
I feel like because of our lived experience, particularly as women of color, we have a resilience that is I almost want to say bred. And I don't know if it's like just, but from very young, we are socialized to be resilient at all costs.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it turns into high functioning burnout because you just learn to withstand like, okay, I remember when I think I tell this book in the story. I remember one time I'm like in corporate, high pressure job, and then like we were so young, my husband and I, we were going through financial issues. Our car was getting repossessed, but I still had to like go to work and act like, yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get my car from the tow yard when I get home. But yeah, next agenda item.
Right.
Totally how it be though.
We had like so that's my it's like like extreme compartmentalization. Like shit
Yeah.
is fucked up at home and
Mm-hmm.
at work, but you're still showing up and like, okay, all right, we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna hit my deliverables.
Yeah.
How I recognize burnout. So for me, it always shows up in my body. And there's a
Mm.
great book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes.
It was one that I referenced in my book or cited in my book because the body always keeps the score.
Absolutely.
And so that's how I begin to notice is I'll have stomach issues, headaches, back aches. So that's a sign for me. The sign where I can't like I'm revved up and I can't rev down. So living in the Bay Area is not uncommon to have a commute. I used to have a 2-hour commute to and from work.
Oof.
And right, girl, like who does that? So hopefully not a lot of people nowadays, but I know these crazy CEOs trying to get everybody back in the office, but
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother
yeah,
show.
that's a whole other show. Bye, y'all. Like that would be my response. But anyways, uh, so because I've done this 2-hour commute, I
Yeah.
5 days a week, and so I would get home, still have to, help with dinner or find dinner, help because my husband at that time was working swing shifts, so it was like trying to get dinner on the table for my son. I have one son; he's 19 now.
Oh
But
gosh.
back then he was little, so it was helping with his
Right.
homework, bath time, get back on the computer to answer some emails, and then finding myself not being able to really sleep. So those are the signs. And just being like, you get to a point where you're so burnt out. Not only are you perpetually exhausted, which I think a lot of us unfortunately have learned to live with, but I find it's like the apathy that I'm like, okay, because when I give zero fucks about
Mm-hmm.
anything,
Mm-hmm.
that's like, okay, something's got to give. When I am just, they called it languishing during the pandemic, but just feeling just this emptiness, this nothingness. And my advice for people when they start, first of all, burnout is really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
So I like to encourage people to hear the signs, feel the signs early, because when you're truly burnt out, like usually you're having some severe medical issues or mental health, like it's beyond the point where you can just take a week vacation and you're good. I found when I left corporate, it took me probably a year to fully feel like steady and stable, which may scare some people. Some people may feel like, what? It's going to take me that long to recover. But it kind of does take your system a while to come back to stasis. Like you have to free your schedule of things. You have to make time to actually just be and not be doing all the time, and take care of there's many things that, in the book, I actually recommend, there's a 5-part blueprint that I give that's holistic. And hello, right?
And I gave a blueprint on how to move.
Right. That's a little academic in me. I love a blueprint, a framework. I'm a template. What? Come on, template. So
you probably just sitting around the house making them on Canva.
Right. Oh, I'm a Canva queen. Okay, can I buy stock at Canva? Because I am a Canva queen. Let me tell you, they need to be.
If we end up buying a stock, we need to hold them accountable.
Okay? That part. They need to start buying my templates because I be busted in Canva. I'm sorry. Anyway. But that aside, yes, my meaningful life framework is all about reconnecting with your heart, restoring your body, reframing your mindset, renewing your spirit, and then looking at your routines, revisiting your routines. So that's the 5 things in a nutshell that I would tell people to recover from burnout.
Or in a newt shell.
In a newt, there we go.
I see what you did there. How notorious of you.
Thank you so much. Silly. That's why they shouldn't give everybody podcasts. That's
my next endeavor, because
okay.
That is, I had one about leader. This is sorry, y'all. This is a little promotional pullover.
A hostile takeover of the other person's podcast. By the way, stop this one and go listen to mine.
It's coming, y'all. That's all I'm saying. It's coming.
I'll download it. I love a good podcast.
I do too. I'm a podcast girl.
Invite me on, okay?
I know.
Both y'all. This is such a fun. Right?
I'm gonna come. I'll just pull up in the. Excuse me. Do you have a guest today? Because I have something to say.
Just pull out, because I'll use Riverside too. Like so. I'm just gonna pull up on Riverside.
I get the link. I have it forever. Just
pop in.
Can you let me in, please? Thank you so much. I got something. I talk to you.
I love it.
So funny.
Well, Regina, what was your inspiration behind? Because you're having an event soon, but what was the inspiration behind the creation of Bossy and Blissful? So we have I was in corporate America, and I was like, oh, hell nah. And then I have to change course. And that's just my synopsis. But
that was it.
Okay.
No, that was a good synopsis of my corporate career. Like, oh, hell no. Yeah, that was great. But okay, so in corporate, because I'm a firm believer of trying to pilot your idea, or at least get a little proof of concept. So about maybe 8 months, maybe a year before I left corporate, I had this idea of, what if I could bring high achieving Black women together, like myself, Black women in leadership roles who are tied, like so tied. And what if I could curate a beautiful experience for them, just an afternoon? And that was the first event that I did. I called it Wine and Unwind. And it was in Napa.
Oh.
Yes, because, a girl is a little bougie too.
Of course.
Right? Just a little bit. So I took the ladies to Napa. It was about 15 of us. And we had just sat around this big dinner table. I brought in a Black owned wine companies, like brought in their wines, and we just sat and got to know each other and just let like the proverbial let your hair down. We really
Yeah.
got a chance to let our hair down and laugh, and we had a good playlist because music sets the vibe,
Sure.
and got to express all that we were carrying and learned a lot about each other and all of the similarities that we have. Most of us were dealing with the same things in work and our personal lives. So when I saw how well that went, I was like, oh, I could do something where I could bring Black women together quarterly. So I had done a couple of those events. I then tried to bring it into an online community. And I think because it being in the summertime, or because it wasn't for a lack of marketing, because let me tell you, I was, I was telling everybody who would listen. But I got like one person that signed up, and I was like, okay, cool. So we don't want to do this right now. That's good. All right. So, which I took that, I truly, similar to how your thinking is, Jasmine, I don't see that as a setback. I see that as redirection.
Yeah.
So I took that as like, okay, it's not the right time either for me or for them, or something else is brewing. And so that's really where I'm looking for this year. What do I do with Bossy and Blissful? I still have so much of a heart for Black women, because that is my lived experience.
Sure.
But I also want to help any and all people kind of find their soul's expression. So I think that I will do something, maybe Bossy and Blissful becomes a course, while I'm also working on some other healing modalities within my business, like yoga, like intuitive readings. I'm coming up with a soul expression workshop as we speak to really help people tap into their true self, not all the masks and things that we wear, not all the things that our community, our families, our culture put on us, society puts on us. Like, who are we really at our core? Who was that little girl? Who was that little Jasmine? Who was that little Chiyoko? Who was that little Regina that just wanted to do X? How can I help people tap back into that and live their bliss?
That's beautiful.
So that's what Bossy and Blissful is kind of, I'm still noodling on what that becomes as I shift into something I think that's going to be more healing for people.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the event on this 22nd of February. So that's coming up in a few weeks, because we are now I slid into Black History Month like Luther on that cover. Just so
I did a good job with it. Okay.
Like, listen,
I'm pretty sure.
That's me just
I think you're
sliding through.
good.
Just which is beautiful that is happening this month. But you have an event, a Bossy and Blissful event coming up. What can your guests expect from this event? Tell us about the event.
Yes. And so I am so thrilled to be collaborating with the beautiful Jasmine Newt here. We are co-collaborators on this wonderful event. So it's my business, Bossy and Blissful, in partnership with A Seat at the Table Community Collective, which is the nonprofit affiliated with A Seat at the Table bookstore in Elk Grove. And they're a fabulous bookstore that I've grown to love because of how they take so much care to curate books from all voices, all stories. And so they're the setting for this event that is called Black Girl Glow. A day of healing and restoration. I might be missing a word there. Let me get it right. It's Black Girl Glow, a day of healing, self-love, and restoration, to be exact. And we came up with this idea just to have a full day where Black women and their families, because it is a family-friendly event, they can come and just enjoy. So I just told y'all from the Bossy and Blissful spirit, I'm all about curating experiences that people can let their hair down. So I feel that this will be, that is infused in this day. And what we're planning is just a few different things to look forward to, and I'll give a rundown. But Jasmine, please chime in and help me amplify where you see fit. But we're going to start out with an opening poetry performance just to set the tone. We have a beautiful poet from the Bay Area named Audacious I Am. She's phenomenal. Then we're going to do some fitness, y'all, because we gotta tend to the body. So we have not Jasmine. Jasmine is coming later. That her segment. We have Janelle Turner, who owns a wellness business called Be Well with Janelle. She is a fantastic former corporate girly like myself turned wellness entrepreneur. So she's going to take us through what she calls soulful stretch. So we'll have 2 sessions. You got to RSVP for that because it's limited slots. So I want to just shout that out. If you want to get in your soulful stretch, make sure you RSVP. And then we just, every hour we have something going. We have Jasmine, who's going to be doing a guided writing, which she can tell y'all more about.
Okay, Jasmine.
Yes, we have a mental health panel because, hello, mental health, Black women, we need to make sure that we are taking care of all parts of us, particularly our mental health. We have a vendor fair, so you can come through and get resources from other vendors, art vendors. We have Black women tarot readers. We have, so there's the spiritual side of it too, or tapping into that. I'll be doing a segment based on the framework from my book. I'll be wrapping us up and helping right. If you're there if you stay through the end of the session, or even if you come later and stay to the end, I'll be helping you with your glow forward plan.
Oh, look at that.
Right. And Jasmine, tell us more about the networking. Like we got all the things planned.
Yes. So during, just to tie it back to the guided reading, we're gonna sit, same as Regina. I consider myself to be very focused on us seeing our true selves and our strengths. So really taking that time to take a real good look at ourselves and see how it is that we best show up in this world. And that's going to then guide nicely into Regina's section as well. And then from there, we are going to set up an opportunity for us to mingle and network and get to know each other. And that is going to be led by the lovely Andrea Marie. They have done a ton of just curated space events in the Sacramento region, and just very excited to help curate a space for us to just be present, right? Just have a space to be present and secure enough to say, hey, what are you working on? And how can I be involved? And how can I get you involved over here? So just the act of looking out for each other is going to be really big throughout the entire energy of this event. And also just knowing yourself. I think really hoping that some of these tools and strategies can help people know themselves, like truly know yourself, strip back everything else and really know that, hey, I'm pretty good at this. And how do I take this energy and this essence and walk amongst the most authentic version of this life I can. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
It sounds absolutely beautiful because it gives all these different things, like aspects of the complexities, I think, of Black women. So it's like the business side, the fitness side, the spiritual side, the shopping side.
And we pulled things off. We tried to put some more. We was really trying to curate just an opportunity to just look around and be, oh yes, this is something that I deserve, and I'm worthy of healing in this modality.
Yeah, and I wanted to highlight one more. We actually also in the morning are having a Black woman author come and premiere her book. So her name is Nikki Shannon Smith. Her new book, Stranded, she's going to do an hour book launch and talk. And it's a book for children. It's like looking at the cover, it's a beautiful book about a Black girl who I think goes on an adventure in the wilderness and finds her strength. So you don't normally see us in those type of like action oriented in the wilderness wilderness
Mm-mm.
type stories. So I love that she's going to be premiering her book. So it really is. I hope that Black women in the area, or if you're coming from the Bay like me, I hope that we'll make the trip. And even if you pop in for part of it, come, bring your friends, bring, if you have daughters, even sons, because I believe boys need to see too how to care and cater to women. So bring your people and just come in and enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you said that about your sons, because I just have the one child who is a son, and that has been my entire focus is how he shows up. One of the entire, I mean, there's other focuses, but one of the focuses has been how does he show up for little Black girls, but he has a Black mama, so it's like, and your Black grandma, your Black aunties, Black cousins, like how do you show up for them, and is it ways of understanding what the nuances and complexities, or doing your best to understand, like, oh, she's not this, it could be this,
right?
How do you show up in protection?
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say she's not angry, she's just stressed out because she has to do everything, maybe help,
and not only that, but she knows that your Black ass can do better, so that's why she's coming to you in that way. So don't call her an angry bitch because you ain't getting your shit together, because I'll check you.
Okay, I might need to sign up for a session. I told you I got a 19-year-old son. Okay, that's an aside. I'm like, we gonna talk after this.
Yes, you come on through, and I have snacks in my office, or we can be virtual, and I'll send you a snack. In your opinions, how can community, so they can show up, right? But how can community consistently show up for Black women, or how do Black women continue to show up for themselves, or just show up for themselves?
I'll jump in, because what you just said, Chioko, about showing up for ourselves, I'll take that, and I will defer to Jasmine on the community.
Yes, that's where you at, Jasmine. Yes. Ooh, Regina,
so
look at you.
Listen, because I'm all about showing up for self, because I'm like, right, like, especially in this moment, we talk about there's now this movement around the 92% of Black women, who voted for Kamala, and us resting. Yes. Like, I'm here for it. We do too much for other people. And not to say that we shouldn't help people, but I always come from a place now. Do I want to? Like, do I truly want to? Not because I should, or they think I should, or they want me to. Do I want to? And do I have the energy and the space right now to do it? If I don't, it's a no. And I think we have to be okay with that, because we are socialized our entire existence as Black women to always put other people, put the country before yourself, put your church, put your family, put your this, put your that, put your kids, no, like, that has gotten us burnt out and tired and disillusioned, in my opinion, and many of us are off our purpose because we are too involved and invested in other people and other things. So I am team us. I am team do you. And you I capitalize you, because the real you, not the socialized you, not the false you, the real soul level you.
Oh, beautiful, Regina. That is beautiful. Yes. Miss Jasmine.
I got to follow up behind that.
Come on,
no, you got it, because community, because you like,
I got it. I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
You got this.
You got it.
So, well, in my opinion, I find myself going back to the term Ubuntu, which is an African term. My understanding, or how I remember it in my brain, is I am because we are. And I learned this from one of my mentors. Her name is Crystal. She does amazing work in the DEI space. How I see community and how I see us showing in community is those moments of showing up for yourselves. You have to be able to step back and remember what your purpose is so that you can show up in community. I think that the easiest ways for us to be a part of the community is to honor ourselves and to just be respectful in public spaces. I think in general, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what water people are drinking, but some people just ain't. Look, the home training ain't home training no more. And I do believe that that is impacting our community spaces in ways that is really a detriment, because it's as simple as just being courteous and mindful of shared spaces with people that I think does wonders for community. I really do. I think that when people are mindful of those around them and just being mindful, it really does more than any one task that you're doing in the community, because it's creating a new environment. And so I go back to the looking at yourself first, because if you can't even be one with yourself, then how do you recognize community, right? Another, and I don't know where I picked this one up from, but another quote that I heard is it's really anti-community to not allow your community to help. So if you're a person who is always helping other people, the best thing you can do is to step back and let people help you. And it's sometimes the hardest thing to do, especially in our spaces, because that is a space that we often are disappointed in, right? And so sometimes you do have to step back and just kind of focus on just you and allow community to get it together. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't turn this back to this Black Girl Glow event, and that a seat at the table bookstore manager, Shay, she's amazing. Very much a person who believes that they have to stand in the gap and do their part to incorporate inclusion and actual diversity in the space and belonging. And so I think that these are the moments where we see Ubuntu in action. When we step back and we're just told where to show up and the itinerary is already made. We just bring our people and the community is being made. So I think that that is community and movement. That is self-love and movement. So hope that answers.
Okay, come through, Bishop.
Right. Love it. Mic drop.
Yeah, one of the ushers come and hand her a little napkin, a handkerchief, so you can wipe her brow. Love this. This is the final question, because I believe in honoring time, and I could keep y'all all day. I would be like, let's go get lunch, let's come back.
I love this.
I know it's been a great conversation.
It's been great. But what does liberation look like for you? And I will start with Jasmine, because I've been picking on Regina this whole time. I'm like, Regina.
I know, but this is the one that this is the big question, in my opinion. Liberation is ever changing in my eyes, if I'm being honest. But to me, liberation is very hard sometimes to say what I'm thinking. It's remaining rooted to your history and your ancestors, your land, the stewardship of the land. Liberation is to free ourselves from how we see our lands being cared for, how we see our people being not cared for, how we see other people being oppressed in our distraction periods. Liberation is every bit a part of my breath and movement and everything I do, because it's moving forward. I see nothing but liberation in the future. So with that being said, I mean, we already know what it is over here. I write for everyone. I believe in liberation for all, and I hope to see a world in which that rootedness to our earth is still honored, our rootedness to our ancestors is honored, but our 3D reality is what we get to determine it to be, not what the oppressors get to determine. That's liberation for me.
Okay, deaconess. So you've been deaconess, usher, and a bishop. Okay. I love this.
That part. That's beautiful. I love that you brought in the earth, because we are, like, especially our indigenous cultures, if we go back to our ancestors, they were connected. They are from the earth, with the earth, tilling the earth.
They understood. They listened. And it's not that difficult.
No.
People make it. I go outside and I can smell the rain coming. It's not that difficult for us to tap back in. But we're so busy. We're just so busy being distracted from those senses. Like we actually don't know what it means to experience because it's been co-opted. So
the senses and
yes,
oh no, go ahead.
I can smell rain coming.
You can smell the rain.
I can smell when my children are getting sick. They smell like the hospital. I smell hospital coming out of there.
Or like my Black grandma, you just were funky because you smelled like the outside.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just
that is like foundational. I think everybody got that sense of smell. Hopefully.
Right. Like, ooh, you smell like the outside. It's like, well, damn.
It has a very distinct smell.
It has a very distinct smell. People don't understand that anymore. But yes, you can smell the rain coming.
You can
and
smell the
sometimes
rain
you can
coming.
smell sickness, and some people can smell these different things even about themselves.
Yeah,
like something's not right. And so I think getting back to that is very important.
Yeah, and even the cycles and the rhythms of life, and I'll take it back to the individual, but that's liberation to me is both, Jasmine, I loved how you said so beautifully, it's the connection to the land, to earth, to other people. That starts though with being connected to yourself. And being present and grounded in yourself. And so I think of personal liberation as really first and foremost understanding that you have a life force energy and you have agency or free will in how you use that. And we are socialized to think that we do not have power, that we do not have the will to do the things, that we have to do this, we have to do that. I was just telling my friend who feels like she's coming off of a high pressure job and thinking about she has to go back to corporate. I said, you know what? Child, please, you don't have to do anything. None of us have to do. There's never a have to do. It is what you choose to do. And that's where I want to help people get to. That to me is liberation, when you are so rooted in your own inner wisdom and you feel your own agency and power, and then you choose to invest your time into the people you love, into the things you love. It's all about having choice. And that's so sacred to me because our ancestors did not have choice in many, many things.
Oh, you two have been an absolute delight to me today.
Likewise.
It has been so much fun, and I am just really thrilled that the two of you were brought together by matchmaking or that sort of thing. I think that is so neat, and how that all, like, there's always these puzzle pieces, and there's like this divine intervention of how people meet each other that you can't really explain. They just do. I think it's so neat.
Jasmine, and it's, I'm in that phase right now where I'm separating from working that corporate position.
Good
and
for you.
Into my business. It's been slow.
So I want to do a slow clap.
Regina's trying to get everybody to lose their damn job. Like, just go.
I've been biting my tongue this whole time because I've been fighting. Professionalism is one of my main battles on this backside. But my business is called Intuitive Connections, and I truly honestly believe that we be having connections everywhere. And how do we, sometimes people are so bogged down with the normalized way of doing it that they just don't tend to think outside the box, and they don't tend to, well, did you even think about approaching this type of person? No, I didn't. And then, just by the stroke of the universe being beautiful, it ends up being what ends up happening, looking like an amazing partnership or some type of collaboration. So that's where I'm going to be busting out soon and being more prevalent. And there's so many beautiful people that I've come in contact with that have just in even passing, and just helping people to know how amazing they are, and also just to see how their strengths can be better utilized to meet their own goals or their own self-actualization. I'm here for it. So here for it. So Be
Okay,
on the
we
lookout.
were brought together for a reason. All of us.
Yay,
This is
look
beautiful.
at this. Is there any way that people, is there like a Instagram? Are people still on the Facebook? I'm trying to I'm trying to moonwalk my ass right on out of it.
You and me both. And I used to work there.
I tired of y'all. Do you have a website? Do you have things that or places that you want people to that can access you if you want to be accessed?
Yes.
Because some people be like, I don't want nobody contacting
Right.
me.
So right now,
Go
the
ahead.
website's on my side. It's being developed. Everything is starting. So
Okay.
the best way to reach me is through my social media, which
Okay.
is Love Jazzy. It's LUVJAZZE, and TikTok, Instagram, Xiaohongshu, Red Notes.
Okay.
There.
Come
Okay,
through.
Come correct or don't come at all. Okay. And I love it.
Ni
over
hao.
there.
That's all I
love
can
it.
say.
I love it. Xiaohongshu it's I believe a China-based social media app. It is beautiful over there. Very different
love it.
culturally. So when you come in, take your shoes off. But it is beautiful. And so I appreciate creativity and I appreciate seeing it in different spaces.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes.
will
Love Jazzy.
Yes.
Definitely I will say your girl is definitely a humanitarian and a social activist.
Okay.
So
right. You're not for everybody. Don't show
not
up.
everybody's cup of tea. Okay.
That's fine.
But do you?
Yes, and that's
There
fine.
we go.
I will give a follow.
I love it.
Come check me out.
I will. And then I'll ask you both to like give them to you so I can just put them in the notes as
Sure.
well. So Regina, where can people find you or if you want to be found?
Yes, I do want the beautiful people to find me. They find me anyways. So I like in the grocery store, just walking around. So so I do have a website. It's reginalawless.com.
Okay.
You can also find me on the socials. I'm on LinkedIn, Regina Lawless. I am also still on Instagram for now, at regina.lawless. I just, made it over to TikTok like 2 weeks ago. Like, auntie's go auntie, but I'm trying to, even though there's a whole over 40 TikTok that I like
You're
love.
good.
So
Yeah.
I just, I made the leap. So I am on TikTok. I am Regina Lawless on TikTok. Yeah. And I haven't done I got off of Twitter because, I am.
We're on it.
Yeah, good. That's
on it.
yeah. It's yes. So
Trash.
yeah. And Facebook, yes, but that's like for my family. That's like my uncles
and they
be
have the
sending me memes and like cousins. So like
they
I'm on
have
Facebook.
structures that are helpful to marginalized communities. So
Yeah,
groups,
but don't
they do have groups. But,
They do, but don't hit me on Facebook because it's too many bots trying to like connect and friend me. So I don't friend nobody on Facebook no more because I'm like, you're looking suspicious, sir. You have one post. And why are you friending me?
Yeah.
So like,
not even my cup of tea.
Right.
I love that y'all want people to reach out to you.
Yes.
But it could be like, I don't want nobody. No, this is enough. Thank you so much. And I would say, okay, cool. But I appreciate the two of you being here and spending your Sunday without coffee with me.
Jasmine's like, listen, I see, because I'm about the slow life. So I didn't have time to do my breakfast and my coffee. So I said, listen, I'm going to hop on with my water. And now I'm about to go make some breakfast. Brunch,
right? You at lunch. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping that the event is wonderful. I have a baby shower that day, but I think it's local, so I can probably come in, come out, type of thing.
Slice through.
Yeah, we're starting early in the morning with morning festivity stuff, and then we end with a networking event from 7 to 9.
Oh,
yes.
7 to 9.
So yes.
Late
So
night.
cool. Yes. Come on, Kyoko, come through.
I'll be like, ooh, we're on a late night. And then at 8:30, I'll be like, ooh.
Again,
that's why it ends at 9. because we all have bedtimes.
I am very much in my auntie era. Like 9 o'clock, the yawn is strong.
I mean,
It's like,
I mean, like those back in the day when people would take people to the movies, like men would take girls to the movies and they do the whole yawn thing.
exaggerated yawn.
That would be, that's me. Oh shit! Ooh,
About that time.
I think I stopped breathing for a second. We've been here so long. Just go home. Just go home.
Ooh, I wonder if I can get back in the backseat of my car and take a good, quick little nap.
I love a nap.
Oh, me too. Oh, nap.
Amazing.
The most liberating thing I've ever experienced is going back to my undergrad. I present there often, and my mentor for sociology, I couldn't find her midday. I was like, "Where are you?" She's like, "Oh, I take a midday nap every day, and I've been doing it for decades." And I'm like, "Goals."
Proud of her.
Damn,
that's amazing.
How did I not know you were doing that during school? But go.
It's amazing.
I love that for her.
And I bet her skin looks great and she still has all her edges. Like that.
She's gonna be stressed out.
Yeah. Great.
I need in my life a midday nap. I'm like that down. It was my pleasure. And I hope to talk to you both soon. And you're welcome to come back on the show. Yes. I would love to have you. Yes. And we can talk about all the things. And, you know, we're gonna creep up on Regina's podcast and
already invited. Pull up.
We're like, damn, Trevor, this is the 5th week in a row. Like
where you want me to put this air mattress? I'm outside.
Like, I have other guests that I want to talk to. I was like, no,
we got a schedule.
No, we're kicking it.
What is it that Grinch says? There's no time for self-loathing. I'm booked.
Oh, I adore the two of you. It was so great having you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for letting us come and talk about the event and life and just creating more community for our
yes,
of
course. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.